guys, my name is Becca, and this is my brother Michael, and we're here with my September wrap-up. So, if you guys have seen my September TBR, Michael here chose 6 books for me to read in September. Now, of course, I didn't just read, the 6 that he chose. I actually didn't read a lot of the 6 that he chose. I only read 4, and we're going to get into that when I talk about those books. But first, we're going to talk about the other books that I read, which, of course, now that I, have took a look at all the books that I've read, there are quite a few. So first we're going to talk about the books that I don't have physical copies of, and if you want, Mike, you can go over on the others. You don't have to be part of this part of the video if you don't want to be. Okay, so we're going to talk about the books that I read that I don't have physical copies for, the books that I pretty much just read on my phone, and are all smut. So if you don't want to hear, just close your eyes. Or ears. I meant ears. Sorry. You know what I meant. So first I read Voyeur. I don't remember the author. It's a common theme with me. If I don't necessarily like the book, like if I think the book's just and it's not really something I really want to think about ever again, I don't always remember the author. Like with this one. So Voyeur is about a girl who is broke. She can't pay her tuition, and she needs money. So she decides to work for this voyeuristic club, hence the name Voyeur, and she performs sexual acts while people are watching for money. Like I said, this is smut. I told you. One of the people watching her happens to be her teacher. If you just see his face. A relationship stems from there. I only gave it like 2.5 stars. It really wasn't the greatest. I felt like the teacher, who I don't remember his name. Another thing about these is, like, I don't always remember names. I just don't. One thing about the teacher is that he felt like very Christian-like from 50 Shades of Grey, and I just wasn't feeling it. It was just, it was okay. The smut was fine, but didn't really like it. So I gave it 2.5 stars. Next, I read Made for Majesty 1 and 2. I don't remember the titles for those, like the subtitles. One, I think, is Forbidden Fruit, but I can't remember the second one to save my life. These are really about a king and his maid and smut. It's really all you need to know. There's a lot of smut. It's very heavy. And a lot of it's non-believable. It's very creative, though. And I will say, none of it was very repetitive, which I really liked. But it really wasn't the greatest. And so I only gave this, 2.5 stars each. I think the author for these might be AJ Phoenix. Maybe. I don't really know, though. Oh, now that I have to think about this, did I read anything else that was not so great? I don't think so. Next I have Sweet Addiction and Sweet Obsession. I always get Sweet Obsession. I always think it's Sweet Possession, I think, but I'm pretty sure it's Sweet Obsession. They're by J. Daniels. Again, it's a smut. It's about a girl. She's a baker. Her name is Dylan. And she attends her ex-boyfriend's wedding because she's the one who baked the cake. And she attends that wedding, and she hooks up with a guy, and stuff goes from there. It was really good. I really liked the, I felt like it wasn't overly smut-like. It just had the right amount of everything. It had great humor. I loved this. I loved both of them so much. It's, I know their names, Dylan and Reese. I mean, it's like, I really, really loved these 2 books. I read 1 and 2, which is Sweet Addiction, Sweet Obsession, I think. And they're both Dylan Reese, even though the first one is said that it's only a standalone, but hey, it is what it is. The second one's just a continuation to their story. The third one, though, which I can't remember the name of the title, that one doesn't follow Dylan and Reese. It follows another character you meet, Brooke. It's her story. And I'm interested in picking it up, but I just don't feel like picking it up right now. I feel if it was the same characters, then I would have picked it up. And yeah, I bet they're still in this book. It's just not about them. So, but I still wouldn't mind picking it up. I just don't feel like doing that right at the moment. So yeah, I gave those 5 stars. I love those. And then I read Dirty Headlines, which I picked up because of G from the book roast. She just mentioned it, and that it was like one of the highest rating smuts in a long time. It's just a really high rating romance, and you're just like, that's like never happened. But it had really, really great ratings. Had like 5-star reviews. I think the rating on Goodreads was like 4.48, and it's just very rare that it ever gets above a 4. So, I mean, I had to check it out. And I did, and it's pretty much an enemies to lovers type thing. Well, at first, when they first meet, they meet in a bar. They have a one-night stand. Yes, and I can't remember their names. I'm so sorry, I can't remember their names. His was foreign, I know that, and it was very weird. I didn't know how to pronounce it. I think it's like Celian or Salian. I have no clue. So, his I remember just because it was so hard to say. Yeah, I can't remember hers. But, so they have a one-night stand, and while she's doing the walk of shame, she ends up stealing his wallet because she's desperate. She's just hit rock bottom, and she's really desperate. She's had a lot going on in her life, and she just really needs some money. So she steals his wallet. A month later, she's got this job, and she's doing pretty good, and she sees him again, and he's her boss. And he knows she stole his wallet. So he's not happy. So yeah. It was really, really good. I actually really enjoyed it. Again, I really liked the humor in this. The smut was actually really well. I just liked all of it. Like, I really liked the story, and I gave it 5 stars again. Like, Dirty Headlines and Sweet Addiction, Sweet Obsession, I would say I would really want physical copies of. The other ones, not so much. And if I can't get a physical copy of Dirty Headlines, it's fine. I just really want a physical copy of Sweet Addiction, the other one. Like, really bad. Okay, oh, and the author for that one is L.J. Shen. Pretty sure. Okay, so the other ones I have physical copies for, I have Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. Oh, you almost lost books. I gave this 5 stars. It's the newest Christina Lauren book. It's my favorite Christina Lauren book. I love it when they write because I always end up liking them, and I always end up loving like, every time they come up with a new book, it's my new favorite. Like, they just get better and better and better, and this is their best. Hazel is amazing. She's eccentric. She has literally no filter whatsoever. She says whatever's on her mind, and I freaking love that about her. And Josh is just the complete opposite, and they're best friends, or at least that's what Hazel made it. You know, she just went right up to him and said, we're going to be best friends, and you don't really have a choice. And it's just them setting each other up on dates. And then, of course, you know, romance between them ensues, and it's fantastic. I gave this 5 stars. I read Intercepted by Alexa Martin. I actually just finished this book, and I really enjoyed this one as well. This one is about it's about Marley. She's been dating this a professional football player, for just a little over a decade now. And they've had some, you know, bumps in the road, but she thinks, you know, they're doing pretty well now, and maybe he might propose soon. But of course she finds out he's been cheating on her for quite some time. And not with the same woman. Yeah, he's been cheating on her a lot. And so she leaves him. Of course, around this time, his professional football team, the Mustangs, gets a new quarterback. He was traded from the Bears. Yeah. He's the Chicago Bears. But of course he was traded to the Mustangs, and his name is Gavin. Marley knows Gavin. Marley knows Gavin from 4 years ago when her and her boyfriend, is it Chris? Yeah. Her and her boyfriend Chris, it was one of their bumps, they had broken up. She had this one night stand with Gavin, and then I guess she gets back together with Chris. Now 4 years later, she sees Gavin again. She's dumped Chris for good, and a romance between them ensues. There is a little, like, towards the end, Gavin is great until like, towards the end, I'd say 75%, and then he gets kind of stupid. I don't know, he ends up, like, pretty much deciding what she's going to do and what they're both going to do, and it just kind of gets really, like, I don't really care for that, but I really like how Marley handles that, and I really like how this ends, and I just really enjoyed this book, and I gave this 4 stars. Next up, I have Stealing Parker by Miranda Keneally. This is the sequel to Catching Jordan, which I read last month and didn't really care for. I gave that, like, 2.5 stars. This is another one I give 2.5 stars. Though this one I felt was just a tiny bit better, just because I could connect with the main character. Just a little, like, not really, I couldn't really connect with her, but I cared more for her story than I did for the other one. So this is about Parker. She really loves softball. It's something her and her mom has bonded over. But she ends up quitting her softball team when her friends start bullying her. And it's all because Parker's mom has come out. She's announced that she's gay, and that her best friend is her girlfriend, and they've run away together. And the mom just leaves Parker and the rest of her family to pretty much deal with the consequences of that. It's a very religious town, so of course things like that are going to happen. So Parker drops her team, and she's just miserable. And then her friend, Parker's friend, ends up, like, persuading her to become a manager of his baseball team. She ends up meeting one of the coaches. He's like 23, she's 17. And of course, they have a romance. There's, of course, true Miranda Keneally, there's a freaking love triangle in this, which is awful. I didn't care for it whatsoever. Yeah, a love triangle. Though, if you've ever seen Read by Zoe's, if you've seen her videos on her channel, sorry, she doesn't call it a love triangle, it's a V. It's a V. Yeah, it's a V. Because it's like a love triangle would be A to B, B to C, C to A. Like, that would be a love triangle. Like, A is in love with B is in love with C, and C is in love with A.
Oh, A, B, C, B.
No, because that doesn't close off the triangle. So a love triangle.
You can't love W.
Well, it's a V, because it's A to B and C to B. Yeah, whatever. I watched the video and I was like, okay, this is like this is, a love V, whatever. Didn't really care for it. The author really, really makes it, makes you know, like, she really points you in the direction of where the main character is going to choose. Like, you just know who she's going to choose at the end, because the author just points you in that direction. And it gets really, it's not done well. And even though I really cared for the story of Parker, I just didn't really care for the overall book. And again, I gave it 2.5 stars. Then I read Too Wild to Wed by Eloisa James. This is a sequel, or this is the second in the series. Yeah. I didn't read the first one. I really need to. Really need to. This is about, I've talked about this. It's about a duke and a lady. They're supposed to get married. She ends up jilting him, and he ends up going to find her. And he finds her with a kid. And so he goes off to war. He comes back. Years later, he arrives back at his estate, and he finds her as a governess in his estate. So, romance between them ensues. This was good. I give it like a 3.5 stars. I liked it. I have now the third book to read and the first book to read. And, yeah. I'm currently reading the 3rd book because it's pretty good. And then lastly, for the physical copies that have nothing to do with the 6 books that Michael chose, I read Saga Volumes 6 and 7 by, I can't talk, Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I give them both 4 stars. I really, really love this series. It's amazing. It's a very mature, like, sci-fi fantasy graphic novel series, and if you haven't picked up the first one, I highly suggest you do. I give these both 4 stars. Alright. Come on. I think that's all the books. I hope there's not anything else, but so all the books I talked about, I talk about those in my weekly reading updates, so I'll link those down below. As you guys know with my wrap-ups, I like to talk about all the movies and TV shows and like video games and stuff that I also have seen or whatever throughout the month. But I didn't want this video to be absolutely long. It's already 15 minutes at the moment, or a little over 15 minutes, and I didn't really want this to be way too long, so I didn't talk about those. But I will talk about those, or I have talked about those in my my last weekly reading update for September. So if you want to, that will already be up before this goes up. So yes, that's already up. So go check that out. Alright. So I wanted to make this as sort of like a game, kind of. I wanted Michael to pretty much, here, you want to get more in frame? I wanted him pretty much to guess what I've read, because he has no idea. I haven't talked about any of the books that he chose for me that I was supposed to have read. I haven't talked about any of them with him, so I told him he could guess the 4 books that I read and the 2 books that I didn't. So the ones that he's saying that I didn't read are Ever the Hunted by Aaron Summerall and Sword and Verse by Kathy McMillan. Of course, if you guys have seen any of my weekly reading updates, you would know what I've read. If you follow me on Goodreads, you would know what I've read. Michael didn't think to look, and I didn't mention it because I didn't want him to look. So, these are the 2 books that he thinks I haven't read. We both know the truth.
What's that?
I don't know. What does that mean?
No.
So these are 4 books he thinks I've read. So that's The Black Prism by Brett Weeks, The Rook by Daniel O'Malley, Holding Up the Universe by Jennifer Niven, and Wind Witch by Susan Dennard. So we're going to start with Wind Witch, okay? Wind Witch is the sequel to Truth Witch. Can't really talk too much about this because, you know, it's a sequel to Truth Witch and it starts right up where Truth Witch leaves off. It follows all of our characters from Truth Witch split apart. They're all doing, you know, their different paths. There's really nothing I can say. I have tried talking about this before, but I couldn't. So you were right. I have read this. I have read this. What do you think I've rated this? Because it's another thing. I want him to guess what I rated it.
I'm feeling a 2.5.
2.5 stars.
Yeah.
You're very close. I gave this a 3 stars. I think. Was it a 3 or 3.5?
Okay.
No, I'm pretty sure I gave it a 3.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I gave this a 3 stars. I liked it. I thought this was pretty good. I feel like I like Truth Witch more because I feel like all of our characters split up, and so we had to get like so many points of views that I didn't really like. It just kept jumping around. I didn't really care for that. I have mentioned that. I like Truth Witch a little bit more because I feel like we followed Safi and Isolde, pretty much only them, throughout the story, and maybe we had like a different POV once in a while, but I feel like the bulk of that story was one POV, where this one is so many.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like my summer reading book.
Okay.
More point of view.
I feel like there are times where multiple POVs are good, and times where I just don't feel like it works well, and this is one where I don't feel like it worked well. But yeah, I gave this a 3 star. I am interested in picking up the next book, so it is on my October TBR. So we'll see how that goes. But good job, you were right.
I'm good at this.
Okay, Holding Out the Universe by Jennifer Niven. Alright, this is about two teens. We have Libby and we have Jack. And Libby is dubbed the fattest teen in America. And she was just about 650 pounds. Her mom had passed when she was young, and so she took to eating her feelings, you know. So because she was so fat, because she, you know, had so much weight, she was stuck in her house, and she couldn't get out. So they needed to lift her out with a crane. Yeah. And that was all over the news. And then we have Jack. Well, okay, so then she was taken to the hospital. Libby, lost 300 pounds. And now, like, from 5th grade to, I think, junior year of high school, she has been, like, yeah, it's, like, all in here. She has been, homeschooled. And so now, I think it's junior year of high school, she's ready to go back to school and face her peers again.
So you did read it.
How do you know?
You're describing it a lot.
It's all in here.
Oh.
Jack is our other POV. He has something called prosopagnosia. Prosopagnosia. I think that's what it's called. It's called face blindness. He can't recognize faces. He tries to differentiate the different characteristics, or like, you know, what you're wearing, like your voice, stuff like that. Something that it's what he calls identifiers. Something that he can identify you without having to see your face. Of course, Libby and Jack meet in high school. They both bond over, you know, what they're going through. And then, of course, a relationship ensues between them. I have read this.
Hey.
So, for those of you who know, I have read a Jennifer Niven book before. It's called All the Bright Places. It's right here.
Oh, yeah.
It's the only other book she read, or has written before this book came out. I don't think she has any other book with this one. I did not really care much for All the Bright Places. So that's why this one really wasn't going to be something that I wanted to pick up. I gave this 5 stars. And I totally just ruined that for you. And I'm sorry.
I was going to say full.
Okay. Alright. Well, I totally forgot I was supposed to have you guess. I gave this 5 stars. It was fantastic. I love this book.
Smuggle it over here.
That book was fantastic. I loved it. Okay. The Rook, it's about this, I have no idea what this book is about.
So I'm guessing 0 stores.
I haven't read this at all. I have no idea what this book is about. I can't even fake this. I've tried to fake it before. Oh my god. I can't.
So
I can't.
You read this one though.
Okay. We're just gonna, yeah. I did not read this and you guys know that. Okay, let's go to The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. Oh, God.
I can already guess.
This is about a world where magic system is based on the spectrum of light. There are beings called drafters. Yes. They're called drafters, and they can draft a different color using the light spectrum. Okay? And then we have our prism, who can draft all of the colors. The more you draft, the more you wield this magic, the faster you die. For the prism, it's even faster. The prism, he only has, in multiples of 7 years to live. So he can live 7 years once he, uses his magic. He can live 7 years, he can live 14, or at the most, he can live 21. It says that our prism has already his 16th year, so he feels like he only has 5 years left. And then we follow Kip, who's another character, and there's a war brewing between, the drafters and stuff, and Yeah, that's really all I can tell you.
4 stars.
Close.
Football 5.
3.5.
I
could not. I just couldn't. Like this, the magic system was way too much for me. It went right over my head, and I just couldn't get through that. So, yeah.
So I'm guessing.
3.5 stars.
I'm guessing you read this one, but not the Rook.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't read the Rook. So, this is about, this is about a girl. Her name is Britta. I can never remember names. Her father has just died.
Passed.
I can't remember her father's murdered.
Oh.
And her crush, who's like an apprentice to her father, is suspected of doing it. Because, yeah, he's suspected of killing her father. So she hates him, and then she's thrown out of her house, and she's living in the woods, and she wants to track him down. And yeah, that's really all I can remember from this book.
5 stars.
I didn't read it. I read this long ago. And so no. Let's get to this one. Sword and Verse by Kathy McMillan. Okay, so this is about Raisa, who is a daughter of a learned one. Her people were killed. They were slaughtered years, like when she was young. Well, some were slaughtered and some were enslaved. The learned ones were definitely slaughtered, so her family hid her away with another family so she could, pretend that she wasn't a learned one. Though she really wasn't taught much when she was young because, again, she was young. So her family was slaughtered and she's enslaved and she's taken to the palace to work there. And one day, years later, she's caught reading something. And in this world, you're not allowed to read. Only the royals are allowed to read. She has a romance with the prince. She becomes a tutor. Because once they find, once they catch her reading, instead of killing her like they could, they put her in a, what the fuck was it?
Dungeon.
Sorry. No, they put her like a competition to become the next tutor with other people. Sorry. Excuse my language. Let's see. Yeah, she has a romance with the prince. What I really liked were there's like gods in it. No, there's actual gods. And like in each chapter there's like a little history of like the gods and everything, and I really like that. So yeah. 2 stars?
Yeah.
You're fucking right. Sorry,
Yeah,
excuse my language.
Got one right.
This was awful.
I could tell by how much you wanted.
I'm so sorry.
I can tell how much you
this
hated
book.
it because right when you picked it up, you went, "Oh."
I was like, wait, I have to try to remember this book, and then I have to like actually talk about it like I actually cared about it. Yeah, that was pretty easy, but okay. So
I got all right.
well, I mean, you were really close. You only mixed up one, and that was fine. I really wanted to try and like pass off like I read the Rook, but I couldn't, and it didn't really go well.
That was really difficult to tell.
Oh my god, and I wish I didn't tell you what I rated Holding Up the Universe, but I totally forgot, and I was like just caught up with it because I loved it so much. I gave that 5 stars.
Oh, so the reason I knew you read Black Prism is because the first week of when we did it, we were driving, and you brought it up.
I did bring that up, didn't I?
Yeah, you brought it up with Holding Up the Universe.
I did not bring up Holding Up the Universe because I just read that.
Oh, which one? I don't know. I thought I heard it. Oh, God.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh no. Excuse me.
Oh, you good?
No, I'm having an allergy attack. They know how this is. They watch me a lot. They know how this is. I brought up that and Ever the Hunted.
Yeah.
Because those were the 2 books that I could read on my phone. Black Prism I had on my Kindle, and Ever the Hunted I had on script. But I did not get to Ever the Hunted because I've already read it, and I was wanting to reread it because I do want to get to Ever the Brave, but no, I just couldn't do it. So overall, okay? Overall, here, where's the... Get those. Of the 6 books you chose for me, I read 4 books. Well, I read 4. Oh, man. Come on.
Got this.
Why is this so hard? I read 4, and I really loved 1.
And you really hated
that I didn't think I would like, but I actually loved it.
You really hated 2.
Yeah, I really hated 1. The other 2 I liked, but I didn't love. So I really disliked this one, and I really loved this one, and I just liked these. So, of course, I will be continuing on with these series, and, well, this one's not a series. This does have a sequel coming out very soon that I don't want to read. No, I don't want to read it. That was crap. Okay, so yeah, and overall, you picked some really good books for me.
I always do.
Yeah, you do, I guess.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've had you do this. I do want to do this again in November, because I didn't do it in October. So, oh my god, this is over 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I think this is my longest video. Sorry, guys. Really sorry. But yeah, so we're probably going to do this again in November. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Bye.
Bye. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again with another video. Bye. Happy reading, guys.